go on by this page if you haven't gone by there yet. Just give me an old like. Just give me an old like at that page if you haven't done so. Thank you so much. That's the PMD for hire. Producer of Marketing and Distribution, independent marketing and distribution services for indie films and documentaries. So, Chris Brogan's been talking a lot about this. So has Mitch Joel. So have a lot of the other, we'll call them the marketing gurus and the pundits and the experts that make a living off of marketing on the internet. They've been talking about the idea of going back over your last 20 posts in Facebook and Twitter and seeing the kinds of things that you're posting there, the kinds of subjects that you're responding to. For example, if we take Twitter, are you retweeting everybody else's stuff? Are you self-aggrandizing? Are you just kind of like calling attention out to your own blog posts and projects? Things that you're doing, me, I, this kind of stuff. Are you providing helpful services by maybe dropping occasional, I guess, inspirational lines or tips or links to stuff that could help people in their businesses? Maybe links to rebates or percentages off or for kind of contests, time-delineated contests, things like this, referrals, I don't know what, book reviews and stuff. Or is it just a bunch of gibberish going on, you know, what I had for snack and how many sugars I put in my tea kind of thing? Take a look at your last 20 tweets. If you're an avid Twitterer, go back into your last 20 tweets and maybe even 40 tweets and just see the kind of stuff that you're posting there. And you'll quickly get a nice overview, or anybody basically who's following you, or anybody else who's studying you, or anybody else who's looking to hire you if you're an independent consultant, or if you're looking for a job, or anybody else that's trying to do some information, some background search on you, if you're going to do, let's say, a public speech somewhere, or just to discover your bona fides, if you say who you are, in the sense of they're looking to determine whether you'd be a good fit for their organization, or cultural, or corporate culture, or ethos. They're going back over your last 20 tweets basically to see who you are and what you're all about. So if your last 20 tweets are of the I'm putting 2 sugars in my tea, I'm tweeting from the toilet, I'm walking up the staircase, you know, I'm eating a banana with chocolate spread, then maybe you should rethink how you're using that particular platform, how you're using that particular piece of social media in order to, I guess, boost or enhance your brand identity if you are the brand or your company's the brand. Because what you put out on Twitter, regardless of what anybody thinks, is really saying a lot about who you are. Just going to get a sip of coffee here. So, have a look at that. Ditto for Facebook. Incidentally, most people don't know this, but you can actually back up your Facebook information. Every time I back up my Facebook information, I always status update it out, and most people are shocked and alarmed to discover that Facebook information is actually back upable. Now, somebody else, his name was Rick Wolf. Rick Wolf, actually, 2 F's, by the way, on that, WOLFF on my Facebook wall, was actually really clever to point out and say, what the hell do I want to back up my Facebook information for? I'm probably never going to look at it, so it's just a bunch of gibberish. I don't know, I guess I happen to be one of the guys that always likes to back up things. I never know when I'm going to use it. I really don't know, you know, when I'm going to get into that stuff. One of the things I'm always sort of apt to say is, when I get famous, you'll be happy you have that information. Trust me, you'll be able to sell that for a pretty high price. But anyway, so back up your Facebook information, and just sort of as an aside, the way you do that is account settings, download your information, and Facebook cleverly disguises it by putting a more info click as opposed to download now. You have to click that, and then you actually request to do the download. It prepares the file. It's usually, if you're an avid Facebooker like me, it's usually a 0.5 GB file or larger. So anyway, just do that. But look at the last 20 Facebook status updates, link shares, and stuff you do. As far as my personal Facebook policy, I don't do any of the games. I don't do any of the apps. It's not for me. I don't use Facebook for that. For me, Facebook is well, occasionally I do use it for fun and games, in the sense of not everything that I do there is entirely serious, depending on what time of the day, but for the most part, I do tweet links and I do tweet status updates that either inspire people to want to like be part of a discussion, or that are helpful to some extent, or of course that are things that I do or that I put out online, or of course these video blogs, the link to them, I always put them out because I think that that's a good platform to kind of get people interested in what I'm doing. So if you look at the last 20 Facebook posts of mine, they're generally of an informational quality, and I do it every day or 6 days a week. I like to put information out there that I think is helpful. I tell people where I was and photos, but very spartanly, not in a kind of overt way, not in a kind of a, that's an annoying sound, that buzz, isn't it? Not in a kind of like overly self-aggrandizing, highfalutin, you know, pat my back sort of way. So the point of this video blog, look at what you're doing online. Sometimes you get lost in it because you're just kind of like retweeting and tweeting and Facebooking and status updating and link sharing and doing all this stuff, and you're really not examining what you're putting out there. But believe me, somebody is. Somebody is going back over your last X number of posts, and they're seeing exactly what you're all about. And it's not like, this is not a warning to watch your P's and Q's and watch, you know, saying things like shit and fuck and whatever you say. Like, that's not really the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make is just make sure that what you're putting out there is quality. You know, and I'm not afraid, of course, to like slip up occasionally and swear and cuss like I did just a few seconds ago, because that's what I think really makes you human, and everybody knows that you do it anyway, so why pretend like you don't? I mean, you don't have to have like Marsha Clark's mouth and be potty-mouthed, you know, or Andrew Dice Clay. Sorry, I'm dating myself here, but occasionally drop in, you know, an F-bomb or two, because that's really what we do in natural speech anyway, at least I do. So thanks again for watching. One more sip of the coffee. This is me. Most people look at this photo on my business card and go, is that you? Yes, it's me with shorter hair. Whatever. Wishing you and yours the very best of things. That is annoying, that buzz, isn't it? It's not even an insect. It's something else. It's a saw.